the war between a coalition of Achaean peoples, led by Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, against the city of Troy and its allies, ended with the death of Achilles, son of King Peleus, who was immortalized in time. The Mycenaean civilization began to crumble, first due to the great internal conflicts that power entailed, such as the Trojan War itself, later due to the destruction of many Mycenaean centers by the Sea Peoples, who were also responsible for the destruction of many cities in Anatolia and the Levantine Mediterranean, and for raids in Egypt, as well as the decline of the Hittite Empire, which would later be devastated by barbarian tribes. After this sustained decline, the Mycenaean civilization disappeared, its decisive end marked by the death of the enlightened centaur Chiron, tutor of Breezy, at the hands of Heracles, after being accidentally shot with an arrow poisoned with the blood of the Lernaean Hydra. Chiron cedes his immortality to Prometheus to escape the unbearable pain of his wound. He also gives him his amulet, the original Chiron's cube, telling him it will be useful in the future. Throughout this ordeal, Breezy remains by his beloved teacher's side, accompanying him to the bitter end until he finally dies in his arms. Ironically, during this period of decline, Heracles also dies. Heracles was poisoned by the powerful poison of the Lernaean Hydra, which the centaur Nessus used to smite the hero. Nessus, already dying, tricked Deianira by telling her that his blood was a love potion. Heracles willingly died, requesting a funeral pyre similar to that of his beloved tutor, the centaur Chiron. After his death, Heracles received the apotheosis, as had also been the case with Asclepius and Chiron. The unexpected death of the centaur Chiron and his gigantic funeral pyre, accompanied by his family and almost all the deities, left Breezy in a state of absolute sadness. Throughout the farewell, she remained wrapped in hermetic silence, turning the precious gift her teacher had given her over in her hands, trying to relieve her stress. She was accompanied by her pets, several of the marvelous dropperflies of the Aegean region, her mother and a saddened goddess Gaia who never left her side. Prometheus and the diligent Anemoi, along with Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, and Hephaestus, took care of the arrangements for such a sad ceremony. After receiving condolences from all the deities, even from a truly heartbroken goddess Hera, and with the last spark of the sacred fire extinguished, Breezy said goodbye to her tutor's grieving family, and retired to the palace of Thrace, where she isolated herself from the outside world. The protectors of the magic dropper, who also felt the irreparable loss, were worried about Breezy's depression as she hadn't let go of Chiron's cube. The goddess Chloris did everything possible to bring her out of her sad state until she finally fainted. Her pets, who had never abandoned her, stayed awake for the first 48 hours. During that time, they secretly planned that if Breezy didn't react in a positive way, then they would act. It was Cyprus the cat who loudly began to give a sermon about the fragility of life, even with so many powers. During one of the intervals, she asked Khepry the beetle if what she was saying was correct. Khepry, who hadn't spoken a word for a long time, responded in a very clear voice, saying, "Definitely." Cyprus continued with his tirade, while Breezy, showing signs of life, moved from side to side in the bed. Cyprus's planned sermon continued, and then he asked Khepry again whether the neighboring centaurs had acted with good or bad attitude after Chiron's death, to which Khepry replied again in a melodious and clear voice, saying, "They acted shamelessly." Breezy then opened one eye, leaving Khepry and Cyprus petrified like two statues. Then it was Breezy, with a voice from beyond the grave, who said, "Khepry the beetle turned out to be quite talkative." "Apparently so," replied the conceited cat Cyprus, wagging her tail with joy, seeing that the ruse had worked. Breezy opened her arms and stretched, grabbing the Khepry beetle with one hand, and said, "Well, now you're going to have to talk to me and tell me who you are." This time, the Khepry beetle replied with a text message. "The curse I'm under, due to being a great orator and very rebellious, doesn't allow me to speak. I'm risking my life on it. That's why I've only said 3 words, though they're very long to pronounce. But if you're interested, the time has come to tell you my story." Eager to learn the mystery surrounding Khepry, the girl emerged from her mental confinement, retrieved Chiron's cube from her sheets, and with the cat Cypress jumping for joy on the bed, the beetle began to tell her, using its strange syllabic writing, its exciting and sad story. I was born a deity many, many millennia ago, as many or more than you were born, on a planet called Chiron, located between Mars and Jupiter, of which only the asteroid belt remains as a witness to those tragic events. I was also chosen, like you, by the Almighty, to be the bearer of the magic dropper on Chiron, but the deity entrusted with the special object, to be delivered to me at the proper time, coveted the power of the magic dropper and began to delay the moment of its symbolic delivery. We were involved in several revolts to usurp the power that rightfully belonged to us. I was arrested with my entire family, and we were imprisoned for a long time in Tartarus, the underworld of that developed planet. Perhaps that is the reason why only women have been able to access the magic dropper on this planet. When we were taken from that gloomy Tartarus, my family was banished from the solar system. The androgynous Credo, the deity who usurped the magic dropper, transformed me into the scarab you see, due to my divine lineage, which he tried in vain to hide. You will have no doubt that I am an unfortunate dream catcher, as I was described so many millennia ago in the venerated sanctuary of Dooku by the benevolent Chask, Pleiadian master of the Intergalactic Confederation. Escorted by a commando of giants, I was put on a spaceship and sent to this planet, with precise and strict orders to guard me night and day, as I was considered highly dangerous by those who controlled my prosperous planet. As the deities of the planet Chiron celebrated their victory over my lineage, the magical dropper that rightfully belonged to me exploded. Such a powerful nuclear explosion left only fragments of Chiron, the asteroid belt of the solar system, a reminder to the ambitious gods and mortals of all the inhabited planets of the universe, of the powers of the Almighty, and the strength contained within the magic dropper. Even so, the ambitious earth gods and humans will make the same mistakes as the ambitious gods of Chiron, although we are in a better position to protect it, since the magic dropper is in your possession. We arrived on this planet after stopping at an underground station on Mars, where I noticed they had set up a large camp as a colonization outpost. The giant commando built a large underground cave where they hid the spaceship, and there I was confined in solitude for a long time. These colonizers would be known here on Earth as the Atlanteans, who were finally destroyed with the invaluable help of Poseidon, the god of the sea. After the explosion of Chiron, some of the extraterrestrial giants, without revealing their true origin, mingled with earth giants on the island of Trinacia, present-day Sicily, and they gradually forgot about this shining scarab, thinking that it was all over for me and would remain a relic. They became unconcerned about my vigilance. Argos Panoptes, that fierce giant with 100 eyes that never stopped watching me, was hired by Hera, and I seized the opportunity presented to me thanks to the humiliation and resentment of Zeus's wife to escape my captivity. I also later escaped from the developed and warlike Atlantis, in the middle of the ocean, where I ended up after falling into the hands of some ambitious sailors. Before escaping, I disabled the spaceship and destroyed many of the diving suits they used to survive the gravity of this planet. They were never able to adapt to gravity. I began wandering the planet looking for a way to find you. Upon learning from a satyr that you were the bearer of the magic dropper, and after passing from hand to hand through countless chiefs and shamans of different tribes, fate decreed that we could meet in the cave of the blessed magician Merlot. After the surprising tale of the Khepry scarab was over, Breezy, along with her inseparable cat Cypress, spent a long time curled up in her bed, fondling Chiron's cube and hugging her amulet, thinking about the demonstration of courage, intelligence, and survival by the Prince Khepry, now transformed into her beloved Khepry scarab. Regarding his recovery, she knew it wouldn't be easy. Her master had left traces that were very difficult to erase. Time would bear witness. Breezy got up, took a bath, and prepared to appear before her family and friends, refreshed by everything Khepry had told her. who from that moment on began to hold a much more special place in her heart. Together, they would face new challenges to help humanity develop while protecting the magic dropper from the greed of deities and mortals. They would have to find a way so that one day the Khepry beetle could break the powerful curse placed on him and regain his original appearance. Who does Prince Khepry look like? Breezy wondered, with a mischievous face and a slight smile.